Okay. I am re-recording this Impact review because the stream I did yesterday did not upload for some reason. It got deleted, YouTube got rid of it or something, I don't know what happened there. And that's very frustrating because I spent a good 2 hours talking with people in the chat room, and there were a lot of really good discussions coming out of that one, but I'm going to try to recreate everything as best I can. So let's do it. Before I get to the review, for the second time, there is something that I'd like to talk with all of you about for a minute. If you watched Impact this past Tuesday, you may have noticed that once again there was no X Division segment. And that has pretty much become the norm on this show. The X Division gets a match maybe once or twice a month, and otherwise is really not focused on much at all in any way, aside from a few weeks out of the year when Destination X comes around. And this has gotten certain people, certain fans, pretty frustrated. I think a lot of fans feel this way. Thinking about how long this has been going on, how long TNA management has been talking about bringing the X Division back to prominence. Let's face it, they've been saying they were going to do this for a very long time, and it just never seems to happen, despite a whole lot of people clamoring for it. So, the guys from the heel cast at TNAsylum.net, Wake Chambers, Raven Effect, TNA Dude, as well as myself, are kind of tag teaming on this. They're trying to start a movement in the fan community to get TNA's attention. Let them know how people feel about this, that they want the X Division back. They want it to be great again, an important part of the product again, to try to gently encourage TNA, shall we say, to finally make good on the promises they've been making on and off for years about revitalizing this thing. So if you're in that boat, if you want the X Division back, the Heelcast team and myself are urging you guys to send tweets to Dixie Carter, John Gaburik, Impact Wrestling, telling them that you want the X Division back, and why, using the hashtag #ReviveTheXDivision. That last part's important. Hashtag #ReviveTheXDivision. On my end, I would like to see a similar thing happen with the Knockouts. Much like the X Division, the Knockouts were once a really big part of the product that was getting rave reviews and creating some genuine buzz, and it's not like that anymore. This is another division that has been neglected for a long time. They've lost a lot of their top talent that has not been adequately replaced. We still see flashes of brilliance every now and again, but it's a far cry from what it used to be. And now, with the Diva matches over in WWE getting better in recent times, the lightning has been let out of the bottle here. I want to see this change. There's a lot that needs to be done to make that happen, but it's going to start with one person. I've been talking a lot about Cherry Bomb recently, for a number of reasons. This is a woman who is available, who is marketable, who has everything you want in a new TV-ready star, who has performed great on several occasions that TNA have tried her out, who has a strong interest in working for this company, and has not been shy about saying it, and who has just been cleared to wrestle again. And on top of that, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the best feud in women's wrestling, bar none right now, is Cherry Bomb and Courtney Rush, a.k.a. Rosemary, in Smash Wrestling. Have you seen these promos? They haven't even been able to touch for the last 6 months because Cherry Bomb was injured with a broken collarbone, but the promos, the character stuff, all the subtle little things they do to get under each other's skin, it's fantastic. This feud is too good to not be on TV, and it would translate to television perfectly, in a heartbeat. There is literally no reason why Cherry Bomb should not be signed immediately and debuting on Impact as early as the March TV tapings. So, just like with the hashtag #ReviveTheXDivision campaign, I want all of you who want to see a change and improvement in the Knockout division to tweet Dixie Carter, John Gaburik, Impact Wrestling, that you want Cherry Bomb in the Knockout division and why, using the hashtag #CherryBomb4TNA. Jennifer Blake, she's another one in that same boat. I would also accept Jennifer Blake for TNA, but for now we're focusing on Cherry Bomb here because that seems like a stronger possibility of that happening in the immediate future. In the meantime, Alright? If you want the X Division and the Knockout Division to be great again, let me know why down below in the comments, and maybe I'll quote you guys and tweet these people about how you feel myself. So are we all clear on what we have to do? Send your tweets to Dixie Carter, John Gaburik, Impact Wrestling. Don't spam them. Alright, no profanity. Be respectful and professional, okay? Use the hashtags Revive the X Division and Cherry Bomb for TNA. Let's all team up together and try to create some positive change in this company for once. And now that my little public service announcement is done, let's talk about Impact. So, this show starts right out of the gate with Kurt Angle's second to last match in the company as he faces Bobby Roode. I wondered briefly if this should have been the main event instead, but I think this was a good spot for it. They already had a good main event with a bigger storyline attached to it, and this way they got to bookend the show with double main events, and that's cool. They have a really good match. We know what we're going to get with Angle and Roode. That's no surprise. I would have liked to see it go longer than 12 minutes, but I do understand if Kurt doesn't want to kill himself in the ring at this point. Plus, in my opinion, the post-match stuff was a lot more compelling, with Roode and Storm putting over Angle's legacy in the company. Let's face it, a whole lot of veterans have come into TNA and just used it as a pit stop or a paycheck and didn't really do much of anything to help the company or the roster. I think we all know which people I'm talking about. But Kurt Angle was not like that. He worked his ass off. He put people over. He did everything that a veteran of the business should do. Everything that you could ask of him to do. That's his legacy. And that's what makes Kurt Angle a quote-unquote TNA legend. In the truest sense of the word. Roode and Storm weren't blowing smoke in their promos. I think they genuinely meant every word they said there. And then Angle proved why, once again, why he's going to be so sorely missed when he put the other guys over again, saying the match that he's looking forward to, even more than his last match with Lashley, is Beer Money versus the Wolves. How about that? The biggest star in the history of the company is about to leave, and on his way out he's saying, I want to see that match. That's what I'm excited about. I want to see these guys go at it. These four guys right here. That's what's a big deal to me. And if Beer Money versus the Wolves didn't feel like a big deal before, it feels like a big fucking deal now. That's one of the great things that a name star can do when you use them the right way and when they're classy enough to actually do it. And just imagine if more name stars this company has brought in over the years had been like Kurt Angle. What a different company this would be today. Just think about that for a minute. Great opening segment. I'm going to drink a glass of milk in Kurt Angle's honor when I'm done with this review. Great stuff. Then, what's next? Then we have, oh, goody, another Matt Hardy promo, where he is once again outshined on the microphone. That is becoming a bit of a regular occurrence. Good for Rockstar Spud. Not so good for TNA's iconic world champion, who, by the way, is still using Spud's old recycled theme song. The good news is, Spud cut a terrific promo here. He changed his look, changed his attitude. You immediately get why he did what he did and why he feels the way he does. I'm very glad to see Spud back in a prominent role. He's one of the best characters on this roster, and they've been really ignoring him since last summer. So I like seeing him back in the mix, even if he's not teaming with EC3 like I wanted him to. But is putting another superior talker with Matt Hardy really a great idea? He's surrounded with them now, and it's only making the fact that he's not as good on the mic as these people all the more obvious. Anyway, great mic work from Spud. He actually got the UK crowd to turn on him, which was no small feat, and then made them want to see EC3 kick his ass. Matt is still problematic in this role, and most likely always will be, but Rockstar Spud was, dare I say it, a rock star in this segment. See what I did there? Then we move on to Abyss versus the UK's Jimmy Havoc in a no DQ match. This is a pretty interesting storyline that's been quietly developing in the background for the last couple weeks. I think it would have made more sense to put Crazy Steve in this match instead of Abyss, since he has that weird relationship with Rosemary that Havoc was intruding on, but whatever, it's not a big deal. Really good match. Jimmy Havoc earned his paycheck here. Some of the bumps this guy took, Jesus Christ. That suicide dive into the trash can thrown right at his head. Oh God. Taking a black hole slam on barbed wire. There was some pretty brutal stuff going on here. And they had Rosemary do a little something in there too, which, as I've said, really complements the Decays match nicely. There was a nice story being told in this one. It wasn't perfect, though. The pacing was on the slow side because Abyss doesn't have a whole lot of spring in his step anymore. And, of course, they had to pull out Janice yet again. And, of course, nobody got hit with it because if you hit somebody with it, you'll kill them. That weapon is so fucking stupid. I swear I facepalm every single time I see it. But aside from that, this was really good stuff. I thought Jimmy Havoc did a great job as a wrestler and as a character. It's a shame he tore his knee out after the tour because this is a guy that I'd like to see come back and get signed. Next, Gail Kim has a problem with the way Maria screwed her over in the Lethal Lockdown match last week. Even though Gail really has no one to blame but herself for that. I mean, what the hell did she think Maria was going to do in that situation? I say if Gail was dumb enough to think that Maria might actually help her out, then she deserved to get her ass kicked. Anyway, Gail starts preaching about how the knockouts are all about wrestling, and then immediately contradicts herself by challenging Maria to a fight. Because the fans really want to see Maria fight! No, Gail, we don't. We really don't. I don't want to see Maria fight. And if the knockouts are all about wrestling, like Gail said, then she shouldn't want that either. I want to see knockouts who are good at fighting fight. That's what I want. Hashtag cherry bomb for TNA. This was a little bit awkward. Quite frankly, both these women are a lot better off sticking to what they're good at, which means no fighting/wrestling for Maria and no promos for Gail. It's kind of funny that Maria comes out at this point and cuts actually a really good promo that was way, way better than Gail's. So what you have here is two women who both excel in the area where the other is lacking. Ironically, doing what Maria wants and pairing them up so Maria could manage Gail might not have been the worst idea ever. But that's not going to happen. And apparently this fight that Gail wants so badly isn't going to happen because Maria says she will never get in that ring. I'm going to hold you to that, Maria. Seriously, don't tease us unless you mean it. I was very happy to hear you say that. Don't take that happiness away from me. So Maria tries to run, Gail chases after her, but then Jade takes her out because Jade wants the Knockouts title. Yes, this is preferable. Let's go more in this direction. I don't need to see Gail versus Maria. Gail versus Jade, that I can get behind. As long as Gail doesn't bury her again. I still think it's a little too soon for Jade to be going after the title. A little bit too soon. I'd like to see her get built up more and get some more credibility building wins before that happens because, you know, the way she was booked last summer was kind of damaging. I think a little more damage control is warranted there, but like I said before, there's not a whole lot of options right now in this division. Until they get some more girls in there. Hashtag cherry bomb for TNA. So I'm going to support this. I think there's actually a pretty interesting story here, with Gail having to split her focus between the physical threat in the ring with Jade and the threat outside the ring with Maria getting under her skin with these mind games. You know, that's a different kind of problem than Gail tends to deal with. Her feuds are usually a lot more conventional. She has a title challenger, she beats them, rinse, repeat. This has a little more to it. It's a little different, and I like that. As long as it doesn't result in Maria taking the title from Gail. Because based on what I saw here, Maria is a far more interesting character by being an enemy of Gail who doesn't wrestle. You know, that means that Gail can't beat her the same way she beats everyone else, and you can tell a different kind of story with that. If the writers want Maria to wrestle, that dynamic is lost, and it becomes just like every other feud that Gail has these days. Excuse me. Then Eric Young and Bram come out, with Eric boasting about how he's the king of wrestling, even though he's spent just about every week since he took out Jeff Hardy losing matches and getting embarrassed. So EY wants to fight somebody, and a giant ball of hair named Big Damo comes out. He's another UK indie wrestler they're using on the tour. Did no one in management actually look at this guy before they put him on television? On top of needing to shave his everything, he's got a big flabby gut and trunks that don't fit very well because he kept trying to pull them up. No joke, I spent the entire match just hoping and praying that those trunks wouldn't fall down before EY pinned him. They didn't, but only, I'm assuming, because God decided that he tortured us enough by having Grado pin Eli Drake in a cage match last week. The match was okay, I guess, but I didn't think it was anything terribly impressive, and Damo's physique was just not fun to look at. Jimmy Havoc has made a very good impression on this tour. I'd like to see more of Jimmy Havoc. Big Damo, on the other hand, they can leave him in the UK. Mike Bennett versus Drew Galloway. This was a good match that I think may have been done at the wrong time. This is the first match for Galloway after you gave him the biggest win of his career against Kurt Angle. And after you not only had him beat Kurt Angle, but let him submit Kurt Angle, he not only loses to Mike Bennett, but fails to tap out Mike Bennett with that very same submission hold. But yeah, Maria put his feet on the ropes, but still, this is the hold that beat Kurt Angle. Do something with it! They had the opportunity to put that submission hold over in a big, bad way, and they just didn't bother. I'm not saying Bennett should have tapped out, but I didn't want to see Galloway use that hold and fail to tap someone out with it either. Wasted opportunity there. And then on top of that, Galloway got beat too easily, in my opinion, whether there was interference or not. By all rights, Galloway should have a ton of momentum coming out of the Angle match, and this felt like it derailed him a bit, unfortunately. I'm okay with him losing to Mike Bennett, but I don't think doing it right now and in this way was the best thing for him. Then we have a pre-tape with Grado talking about, no. You know what? Fuck this. Last week, this idiot, Grado, got taken out of the building because he didn't work there because he was fired. And this week you're giving him promo time? Is he fired or not? Make up your damn minds. I don't care if the feast or fired thing is a work, okay? You still have to follow the rules so we can at least try to suspend our disbelief. If Grado was fired, then it doesn't matter if he thinks he got screwed over or not. He shouldn't be able to get on the show because he's not supposed to work for this company anymore. The only way that should happen is if he jumps out of the crowd, grabs a microphone, and says what he wants to say before security grabs him and drags his fat ass out of the building for the second week in a row. The fact that they're giving this loser his own storyline is bad enough. But when the storyline can't even follow its own internal logic and keeps contradicting itself, that just makes it all the more offensive to me. And that's the worst part about all this. It's not just a storyline about Grado. It's a badly written storyline about Grado. Fuck this shit. Hashtag go away Grado. Then we come to our main event with our Lord of Wrestling, the ass-kicking machine EC3 versus that traitorous bastard Rockstar Spud. In not a wrestling match, but a fight. I think it was very fitting that they did this because EC3 Spud, the match they had on the UK tour last year, was one of the best Impact main events we've seen in a long time. However, I think the face-heel dynamics worked better in that one with EC3 as the heel and Spud as the underdog face. It made for a more exciting and competitive contest that way. Here, it all boiled down to Spud doing everything he could to avoid the beating that EC3 was inevitably going to give him. It was still good, I still had fun with it. Wasn't bad at all, but I just think the other way around was a more compelling story, not to mention a better match. That said, Spud's heel turn works, and EC3 is firing on all cylinders as a babyface, so the end result is a good one regardless. This was a really good show. Certainly the best of the UK tour so far. We had good matches, character development, storyline progression that I was happy about. Kurt Angle's retirement tour is being handled in a really classy way. I would like to see them maybe do some stuff where they air some clips of his great moments in the company. Maybe that'll happen next week. That's really the one thing missing. Otherwise, that's been handled great. The only thing I hated here was the Grado shit, which I still maintain is stupid as all hell and terribly written. But at least this time they kept him confined to one short pre-tape, so I didn't have to suffer through his presence for very long. That was my only real complaint, though. Aside from that, this was a very solid Impact. More shows like this, please, TNA. And those are my thoughts on Impact. But before I finish up, I should probably talk about the Velvet Sky thing for a minute, because a lot of people were asking about that yesterday in the stream. That has now been lost. I don't know why. Anywho, Velvet Sky. A couple days ago, I posted a blog on tnasylum.net. It's still there, it's still on the main page. You can go read it right now. Called A Message for Velvet Sky, in which I called attention to some of the ways that she's been conducting herself on social media. Things like pandering to the WWE, begging them for a job, being a poor ambassador for TNA by acting like she's not happy in the company and wants very much to work for another company. Things like that. And suggested that if she's no longer happy working for TNA, then maybe it's time that she moves on to something else. Well, apparently Velvet Sky got wind of this, and she went on a little tirade about me. It's pretty funny, actually. Check this out. Check it out. Apparently TNA dude made her aware of the column. He tweeted her about it. Check this. He gave her a link to it. And he says, not sending to be mean, but you should realize what the fans are saying about you. Yeah, so you're just nice, polite, just making her aware of it. Velvet responded with, they aren't fans, they're trolls with no life. I'm going to quote you an exact line from this blog that I wrote, okay? This is an exact quote. Has Velvet ever stopped to think that maybe the reason why so many people on social media dislike her is because she's so dismissive of them? For the record, after TNA Dude sent Velvet that tweet, she blocked him. Yeah. He wasn't spamming her or trying to be annoying. No, he just says, literally, he just said, you should know about this. This is what, this is how fans feel about you now. Just making you aware of it. Just being, polite and respectful and everything. And she blocked him for that. So, yeah. Thanks for making my point for me, Velvet. Oh, my God. And it gets better, actually, because Velvet went on a little tirade about me afterwards. So apparently she did read the column. I guess that's something. No, she went on a little rant about me. Here are some of the things that she said. Let's see. Before you pass judgment... I'm sorry. Before you pass your irrelevant judgment on someone else, make sure you know the facts. And not what you assume is on the surface. You look stupid. Really? So she calls me out for not knowing the facts. That's very interesting to me because I challenge anyone to read that blog, A Message for Velvet Sky, still on the main page at tnasylum.net. You can read it right now. I challenge anybody to read that blog and point out something I wrote that is not factual. Because the things that I mentioned... the things I mentioned, her pandering to WWE on social media, that's a thing that's happened. Okay? Something else I mentioned, her leaving the company, bad-mouthing it while that she was gone, and then coming back like nothing happened. That also happened. Okay, these are all These are all things that have happened. None of this is a secret. If you follow any of her social media accounts, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, you've probably seen this. Okay, it's not a secret. This is all factual. But no, I'm the one who doesn't have the facts. No, I'm just a troll with no life. That's very interesting. Very interesting because, I'm not the one blocking anybody who dares to say anything about her that is not kissing her ass. Can you believe this is a grown woman in her 30s? I mean, this is a woman who's been performing on television for nearly a decade. You would think that she'd be an old hat at this stuff by now. You would think that she would know how to properly conduct herself when dealing with fans in these types of situations so that she represents herself in a way that reflects well on the company that she works for. But no, you even look at her sideways and suddenly she's all block, 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 block. It's... Shouldn't she know how this stuff works by now? I swear this is absolutely infantile. Good Lord. It's really like she just doesn't care anymore. I mean, compare this to someone like Rosemary, who, yeah, granted she's only been there for a couple of weeks, but look at how she conducts herself on Twitter. She acts like she's really happy to be where she is. She's excited to be there. And, somebody sends her a tweet that isn't, telling her how awesome she is. You know what? You know what she does? She plays along. In character. She takes it. Because she understands that this is part of it. Velvet is like, you don't even have to tag her. I mean, she blocked me a long time ago. I'm not even sure when this happened. One day I just noticed that she was blocking me for some reason. I don't know why. I don't recall ever trying to message her or interact with her on Twitter at all. No, just one day I'm just blocked for apparently no reason. And I've talked to a lot of other people on Twitter that she's done this to. TNA Dude being one of them. And again, he was not spamming her. All he did was try to make her aware of something. And she blocked him for that. This is why. This is stuff like this. This is exactly why I wrote the blog. Because she's so dismissive of people. And that's part of the reason why those people don't like her. Why there's a growing number of people on social media who resent her. And the impression that she gives off is that she just doesn't care. Because apparently she's not happy where she is. Which is my whole point. If you're not happy in TNA anymore, then go somewhere else. But she can't because none of the other big companies want to hire her, apparently. So she's just staying there for the money, I guess. Okay, once again, I challenge anybody. Go read that blog and point out anything that I wrote that is not factual. All those things actually happened. Okay, again, it's not a secret. All those things have occurred, and you've probably seen them if you follow Velvet Sky in any kind of capacity. Alright, I wasn't really planning to do another talk with the chat room because I already spent like 2 hours doing that yesterday and my voice was kind of shot afterwards. But, well, I got people in the chat room right now, so guess I could talk for a few minutes. Do you want Jimmy Havoc to be a regular on TNA? I would like that. I think he made a good case for himself. Unfortunately, he tore his MCL and his ACL after the tour, so he's not going to be able to do much of anything for about, I don't know, at least a good 6-7 months. Cherry Bomb to TNA. Yep, tweet Tweet Dixie Carter, John Gaburek, Impact Wrestling. Hashtag Cherry Bomb for TNA. Hashtag Revive the X Division. What about Kimberly? She would be good too. I think Cherry Bomb is better suited. I think there's a better case to be made for Cherry Bomb. Plus, she's the one that TNA have had their eye on. She's the one that they've tried out numerous times. I don't know if Kimberly is on their radar. I'm focusing on Cherry Bomb right now because she's the one that seems to have a really good chance of actually getting signed. So now it's a matter of greasing those wheels a little bit. Did you watch UFC 196 last night? I didn't. I was doing other stuff. I did see highlights. I saw Miesha Tate choking out Holly Holm, which was pretty awesome. I'm going to try to find the show online somewhere, though. I really want to see that. I really want to see that whole fight. Kimberly is a great talent, just as good as Mia Yim. I like Kimberly. I like just about everything of her from what I've seen. But like I said, Cherry Bomb is the one that has the foot in the door right now. So first order of business is getting Cherry Bomb a contract. Then we can focus on other people because it's just, like I said, it's just a matter of just giving her that last little push. Or giving TNA that last little bit of encouragement that they need to get her in there. Maria is a better wrestler than everyone on the roster except Gail and Jade. Okay. Believe we have a troll in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. Maria Kanellis is an average wrestler. Mm-hmm. Should Drew Galloway and Mike Bennett finish their feud in an ultimate submission match? Well, the feud is just getting started. Let's see how the storyline goes first. Grado and Big Damo are lame. Agreed. Why is there another live stream after yesterday? I'm confused. Because the live stream from yesterday was lost. I don't know what happened. It just didn't get uploaded to YouTube. So apparently that one is just gone. So I had to re-record it for some reason. I don't know why. Just something that happened. Do you enjoy Rockstar Spud more as a face or a heel? I like him as both, honestly. If I had to choose, I would say I like him better as a heel. Seems to be where his personality shines the most. But I think he's good either way. Good review. What do you think of TNA getting late in the day to announce their next TV tapings? I don't know. It could just be an oversight. I mean, we know they're going back to Orlando to do it. So also we know the general dates because they're going after the UK tour, and I think supposedly the first one is going to be a live show. Don't quote me on that. So we know pretty much the dates. Maybe they haven't announced them because they don't think there's a point. It could be a number of reasons. This is the problem with wrestling in general. The talents don't realize the fans are the lifeblood of wrestling, and they don't respect them. Yep. Choke on that, Velvet. Last night, Miesha Tate defeated Holly Holm by submission in round 5 to win the UFC Women's Bantamweight Championship. UFC President Dana White mentioned Ronda Rousey will get the next title shot. Yep, I know. I got the results. I saw the media for it. I think it's a pretty interesting situation there. If Ronda is going to get the first shot at Miesha Tate, could be a whole different dynamic now because Miesha has won her last 5 fights, and Ronda was kind of broken after the loss to Holly Holm, so it could be a whole different ballgame this time. I would agree with you about Velvet Sky. Thank you. It's been really gratifying seeing the reactions that blog has gotten. It seems like just about everybody that I've talked to has been in my corner. Most of us seem to be in agreement about Velvet. That she just hold on. Yeah, most of us seem to be in agreement with when it comes to Velvet that she's not really conducting herself in an appropriate manner, that she gives the impression that she doesn't really care that much anymore. And her heart's not really in it where she is, and she wants to go somewhere else, except she can't because that other company doesn't want her. So yeah, her attitude's not the best. And taking it out on the fans who try to call her on that is not helping the situation. Because when she reacts that way, she just proves what everyone is saying about her. Velvet Sky, to me, is this generation's Sunny. And there's some comparisons there. Dana White also said Ronda versus Tate will happen as soon as Ronda's filming movies is over. Yeah, I heard all that. So it might not be till the end of the year. Unfortunately, TNA allows this to happen. It's on them to fix it. Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't know why they allow Velvet to act like this on social media. She's setting a bad example. She is not being a good ambassador for the company. She gives the impression that she wants to work for a different company, and yet they continue to allow her to do it. I don't understand that. That's also something I mentioned in the blog. It's like, I don't know what's more irritating, the fact that she acts like this or the fact that they let her act like this. And nobody's talked to her about this. Okay, if I'm in charge of a company and somebody is behaving like this on social media, giving off that impression, I'm going to talk to this person. I'm going to tell her, look, you can't keep doing this. You got to act like you want to be here, act like you're happy to be here, or maybe it's time for you to not be here anymore. Velvet Sky lives life to kiss mine ass or I'll block you. She's a dumbass bitch. She is an infant of pro wrestler. All right. Okay. Let's try to keep things classy here, guys, because all right, let's try to be adult about this, all right? And I lost my place in the chat room again. Do you think a surfing-themed faction consisting of Robbie E., Abyss, and the Wolves would work? No. No, that would be terrible. I think you should make this a separate video on this. Call it a video message to Velvet Sky. Yeah. I already said what I wanted to say in the blog, and like I said, Velvet did a great job of proving my point for me, so I don't think another video is really necessary. Should Robbie E. get a singles title? No, he shouldn't. Velvet isn't even hot anymore and doesn't shake her ass, so what's the point? Well, that's an interesting question. This is a woman who, for a long time, got over primarily with her looks. Well, you know, they bring in a couple other women recently. You could make an argument that those women are better looking. So she doesn't really stand out so much anymore. You know? You got some other women in there who are younger and, you know, more attractive depending on who you ask. So, it's not really Velvet's time anymore, is it? Did your footage get corrupted? No, it just disappeared. I don't know what happened. Normally after the stream ends, the footage gets uploaded automatically, and here it wasn't there. I don't know what happened. So that's why I am re-recording this review. It was really annoying to me because we had a lot of good discussions coming out of the chat room in that one, and all that stuff got lost, unfortunately. I don't know why. How do you think TNA has done with the Wolves? Personally, I think they're super boring with no character, both internet darlings. I think they've done fine with the Wolves. The only problem is they don't have anyone to match up with the Wolves. You could have the greatest wrestling character ever, but if that person has no compelling opponents, they're going to get stale. I think that's what happened with the Wolves. They've been the top dogs, no pun intended, in the tag team division for, 2 years? And they've run through every credible challenger they had, and now they're just kind of holding the belts just to hold them. And that's why it's so important that this feud with Beer Money be handled appropriately, because once that's done, like where else do they go from there? Who, in your opinion, needs to go for TNA's product to improve? John Gaburek, for starters. I do not think he is cut out to be head of creative. I think he's in over his head. I don't think he's a writer. I don't think he's the writer that TNA needs in the top spot. Probably Dave Lagana and Matt Conway. I've been over that before. I think they're tapped out. I think they need a lot of new blood in there. Are you excited for... Are you excited for Bullet V Proof coming with Balor, Gallows, and Anderson? I don't... Bullet V Proof? What is that? I'm excited for Finn Balor. Don't really care about Gallows and Anderson. Are you going to see Shane versus Undertaker? Of course. It's WrestleMania. I'll watch WrestleMania. Why is it that TNA can't book an X Division? It can't be too hard to feature one match and storyline each week. Exactly. That's one of the reasons why we're trying to get this campaign going. Hashtag Revive the X Division. Tweet Dixie Carter, tweet John Gaburek, tweet TNA. Impact Wrestling. Just tweet them. Tell them you want the X Division back. And why? Use the hashtag. Let me know why down below in the comments. Maybe I'll quote you and tweet them with the stuff you said myself. Because there's no reason why it can't happen. It's on them. Maybe they just need some encouragement, and that's what we're trying to give them. Thoughts on Joey Abs? I don't know who that is. TNA need more main event titles. No, they have enough championships. They don't need more. The issue is not getting more championships, it's using the ones they have better. Could you comment again on Joe Parks as general manager for TNA, as I missed what you said yesterday? I think they had an opportunity there for a while with the Joseph Park character, where I felt like making him the general manager figure would have been a great move and would have lent itself to a lot of interesting story possibilities and a lot of entertaining things as well. And apparently they didn't do that. They wanted to go in a different direction with the Joseph Park character, and I don't know why, because it seemed like they didn't have a plan for it at all after they revealed that him and Abyss were the same person, which everybody already knew anyway, but apparently he was the only one who didn't know it. After they revealed that, the whole story just kind of went away, and Abyss went back to normal, and the whole thing was forgotten. And it kind of seemed like they didn't have a plan for it beyond that, which is really unfortunate because the guy was doing brilliant work there for a long time, and it just they didn't capitalize on it. Who would do better in WWE, Gail Kim or EC3, forgetting that they have already been there and would not go back? EC3, I think he's done more than enough to prove that WWE missed the boat on him. But Gail Kim will never go back. We know that for sure. And even if she did, it wouldn't matter, because they probably wouldn't even put her back on the main roster. They probably just, at best, offer her a trainer's job in the Performance Center. Did TNA miss out on making Brooke or Taryn their version of Trish Stratus? Yes. Who can they sign who fits the Barbie look but can still wrestle? Yeah. Taryn and Brooke, both big missed opportunities there. Brooke should have been the top babyface in the Knockout division. I don't know why they didn't do that. Well, I have suspicions. A lot of them pertain to Gail Kim not wanting to relinquish the top spot. Which is really unfortunate because at this stage of the game, I think Brooke was a lot more marketable than Gail Kim and would have made a lot more money than Gail Kim. Would have done more business than Gail Kim. Gail has just become very stale, in my opinion. And they were on the right track with Taryn. Then they let her leave. They let Brooke leave, and they didn't do what they had to do to keep them. Okay, maybe Taryn wanted out because being a wrestler didn't work for her anymore, but they should have made more of an effort to keep Brooke. made more of an effort to keep her happy, done what it took to make her happy. I'm flabbergasted to this day that they didn't do it. It's really just so unfortunate. It's really frustrating. And TNA needs more main event talents. I think they're okay on main event talents right now. I mean, they got the championship on the wrong guy, but they've got EC3, they got Lashley, they got Jeff Hardy. They've got a number of people that they can plug into main event matches and have it work. You know, they've got Galloway, who they're developing. I mean, I don't think he's quite there yet, but he could be ready without too much trouble. Maybe just needs a tweak in his character. And you got Mike Bennett, who seems to be getting fast tracked to that spot. I think they're okay on main event talents right now. Should Sanjay Dutt return in the future? No. I think we need to move forward, not backward. EC3 for president. Okay. Now, what was your highlights of Mr. Anderson's TNA career? For me, it was the lockdown angle, the lockdown versus angle. That match was insanely good. You just answered your own question. Velvet Sky trying to get fired, so she's open to go to WWE. No, I don't think it's about her trying to get fired. I think she just doesn't care. She's left the company in the past, tried to get signed by WWE, and found out that they didn't want to sign her, and then she came back, even though she badmouthed TNA while she was gone. I called her out on these things. I mentioned them in the blog, but no, I'm the one who doesn't have the facts, even though all that stuff actually happened. Yeah, okay. Sure, Velvet. TNA's biggest problem is that they don't run the business like they want to succeed. Hard to argue with that. Thoughts on the UK attendances this year? I don't know. I haven't heard what the attendances were. They looked okay on TV. Of course, you can't really see how good or bad the attendances were since they don't turn the lights on in the arena. Are you happy that Drew Galloway won the Joker's Wild? It was an awesome show. Are you willing to watch Joker's Wild? It was I'm glad Grado didn't win. Am I glad Drew Galloway won? Sure, I haven't seen it yet. I don't typically pay much attention to the one-night-only shows because they have no storyline significance on Impact. With Davey being out with an injury, should Eddie Edwards jump into the singles ranks, possibly winning the X Division title or the World title, or should he get a new partner? He should go into the X Division. Do you think Wade Barrett would be great in TNA? Possibly. I would be hesitant since the guy seems to be really injury-prone, although the lighter schedule would probably help with that. I imagine TNA will inquire once he's free from WWE. I give him a shot. If the guy can stay healthy, sure. How is Gaburik still in TNA? He is a joke. Apparently he's in Dixie Carter's ear. And well, this is stuff that Vince Russo has said, but he's according to Russo, Gaburik has kind of played on Dixie's insecurities and made her think that he is of vital importance and she really needs him. This is stuff Vince Russo is saying. Okay, his words, not mine. I wonder if there's some truth to that because I don't know why this guy has been where he is. I mean, considering what's happened to the talent roster under his tenure as head of talent relations, I wouldn't keep him in that job. Then there's creative, which, I mean, you could poke holes in all day. I think it's better now than it's been in the past, but it's not perfect. Did TNA mess up with James Storm when he won the title for a week? Could Storm have been more than he is now? I don't think they messed up when he held the world title for a week because, ultimately that story did pan out with the Bobby Roode title run. I think they messed up by not giving Storm another run with the world title since then. The whole Revolution thing, which started out promisingly, but then it didn't lead to anything, and it just became stale quickly when it wasn't going anywhere. I mean, Storm has been a really underutilized talent. Not that he hasn't had a lot of success, but I mean, he is the best tag team wrestler in the history of the company. But he could have been more too. This is a guy who's deserved to have a run with the world title for a long time, and he hasn't really gotten that. Not a real run. I mean, not counting the 2 weeks he held the title before. He deserves a run in the main events with the world title. He hasn't gotten that, and I think that's a damn shame. How long will Jeff Hardy keep wrestling? You would have to ask Jeff Hardy. He's almost 40. His recent injury is showing, and Jeff is near the end of his career, in my opinion. Okay, well, that would be a question for Jeff. Thoughts on Eric Young and Bobby Roode as former members of Team Canada? I don't know. They've both done well for themselves since then. What do you want me to say? Do you think the NWO would have been as big as it was without Sting as the top babyface? They would have still been big, but not as big. Because Sting really made that storyline what it was. I think Gail needs to retire as an in-ring performer and be a road agent for the Knockouts. I'm not saying she needs to retire. I do think they need to think about maybe putting her in more of a utility player type of role so other women can finally ascend to that top spot and become stars themselves. Because I think we're at a point now where Gail monopolizing the top spot in the knockout division is really hindering the division and preventing new girls from being made into stars because she doesn't seem like she wants to share that spot with anyone. This is something I talked about ad nauseum in another blog. Gail Kim isn't the hero, she's the villain. That's on tnasylum.net, but it's not on the main page anymore, but it's still there. In regards to trying to tweet Dixie about fixing the X division, what's the point? They couldn't book a tag team division or a TV title division. It's been this way for like 5 years. No, they can book a tag team division. We're seeing progress with that now. They only care about the main event. They do give the impression that they only care about the main event. The point of this whole campaign is to try to change that. To try to tell them, look, the fans want this, and you should get off your asses and do something about it. The point is to show them that the fans are frustrated and try to create some kind of positive change. And is it a pipe dream? Maybe. But let's give it a shot. What do we have to lose? Hashtag revive the X Division. Hashtag cherry bomb for TNA. TNA needs to promote more. Agreed? When Holly Holm won the title, I said that it was a fluke, that it only happened just because Ronda took her eye off the ball. Now that Holm has lost her first title defense to a woman Ronda has beat soundly twice, I think that proves the point. Okay? Is this a second live stream? I'm lost. It is a second live stream because the first one was swallowed up by YouTube and it disappeared. I don't know why. The tag teams in the One Night Only show were Wolves Decay, Mandrews, Tigre, Robbie Goddard's, Bram E.Y. Okay. Do you have a question? Better watch out. Velvet might go back and demand that Bully Ray put you through a table. Okay, well, Bully Ray just said that he's not putting people through tables anymore, so I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay with that. I forgot about Rockstar, Spud, and Grado, and Shara, and O'Shea. Okay, well, again, do you have a question? Just asking. I really hope TNA doesn't ruin the Decay. I think they're all right. I think TNA seem to be behind the group. They've been featuring them very well. They lost the tag titles in their first attempt, which I think that was a mistake for the record. But it seems like Creative is behind them. They're doing an effort to keep them on the show, even when they're not having a match or something. Putting them in storylines in the background and stuff. They had that little music video thing that they've been aired, I think, twice now on the show, which is awesome. Plus, with Davey out with an injury, they're probably going to be first in line for a shot at the tag team champions. So I think the Decay are in good shape. I think you should review WWE because for more subs, because WWE is more interesting than TNA. Respectfully disagree. I think WWE is pretty boring most of the time. What's the worst WCW pay-per-view you've ever seen? WCW, WCW went out of business like what, 16 years ago? What, I'm supposed to remember pay-per-views that happened before, it's like, before 2000? Jesus. I don't know. A lot of them were really bad. Like, I don't know if I could pick one. Halloween Havoc 2000? Sure, that stands out. This guy fired Aries but gave Robbie E a multi-year deal. Shaking my head. Well, Aries, I don't think Aries got fired. I think he was just, he put it in his time and wanted to do something else. It's not always that cut and dry. When was the last time you were generally excited for a TNA pay-per-view? I don't know. Been a while since I was excited for any pay-per-view, not just TNA's. So Gaburik is to TNA as Kevin Dunn is to WWE. Probably not far off when that. I'm trying to find Cherry Bomb promos to judge her mic skills on YouTube. I found only 2 from WSU. Have you seen more from her? Where could I find them? Smash Wrestling's YouTube page is a good one. Look for the ones in her feud with Courtney Rush. There's a lot of pretty recent ones on there that are pretty good. Do you support the streak ending? Yes. Thoughts on Russo? I think Russo is a guy with a lot of ideas, some of which are good, some of which are not good. He doesn't always have the capacity to tell which ones are which. I find myself agreeing with a lot of things that he says about the current business on his website recently. But a lot of the times when he's put in charge of running a company, sometimes the things just don't turn out well. There's a lot of gray area there. A lot of mixed feelings about Russo. When the Wolves are healthy and if everyone was on the same page, would you like to see the Wolves versus LAX? No. Hernandez can stay away. I don't want to see that guy back. Do you think Gail Kim should join Beer Money and make the team called America's Most... What? Make the team called America's Most Beer Money Wanted, which would be awesome? No. I think Beer Money should team up with another knockout, a new knockout. Gail Kim doesn't need that. Do you miss Bill and Doug from RVD Tito for Life making videos? Sometimes. I used to be a big fan of their videos. Some of the things they've said recently, Bill specifically makes me think that our views don't really line up anymore, and our philosophies have become different as time has gone on. I respect those guys. I find myself not really agreeing with a lot of the stuff they say, and a lot of the things that they want from the business. I agree with some of them, but different strokes for different folks. You think Barrett may get involved in football instead of wrestling? Okay. Who do you feel will become the next world champion for TNA? Maybe Jeff Hardy. Why have you never given up on watching WWE? Because I'm a wrestling fan. Plus, I get a lot of enjoyment out of tearing the show a new one on Twitter, and honestly, that's one of my favorite times of the week. Really, Monday night, where I can just tweet with my friends about how crappy the show is. A lot of the times, I'm watching it just in a so bad it's funny kind of a way. Plus, it's hard to just stop watching wrestling altogether, really. I don't know if I could do that. I probably always watch it in some capacity. How surprising or disappointing is it to you that WWE is willing to sign any independent women and TNA seem unwilling to bring in new blood? It is disappointing. Because I know for a fact a lot of these women, while they may do well in NXT, when they get to the main roster, it's going to be a completely different story. And I know for a fact that a lot of these people are not going to be used appropriately. Asuka, for example, might be doing well in NXT, but do you think for 1 second that they're going to have any idea what to do with Asuka when she gets to the main roster? Do you really think that? You think Vince isn't going to take one look at her and just kind of shrug and it'll put her with like a dancing fat guy or something? Or turn her into a comedy character? Because Vince would do that. That is something that he would do and has done in the past. Plus, she's Asian, so the Asians don't have the greatest track record in WWE. Just saying. And there's a lot of women like that. It is disappointing. I mean, TNA have blown a number of opportunities, a lot of opportunities over the years, to bring in new blood in the knockout division. There have been a lot of great women that they've passed on. Jennifer Blake, for one. Kaylee Ray, for one. Nikki Storm, for one. Shauna, for one. These are all people who should be wrestling on TV, who are better than women that TNA have employed in the past. But for some reason, they didn't jump on that when they had the chance. Well, they're going to have to now, because this knockout division is in desperate need of new faces. Hashtag Cherry Bomb for TNA. Tweet Dixie Carter. Tweet John Gaburik. Tweet Impact Wrestling. These are people that they should have been bringing in, and they didn't, and now they're paying for it, because they've got like nothing in this division going on except the Dollhouse versus the Beautiful People. What happened with Kaylee Ray? I don't know. She was a finalist in British Boot Camp 2. They didn't sign her. And she went back to the Indies. I don't know what happened there. For the life of me, I don't know how you could watch what she did on that show and not sign her. I thought this girl had top knockout babyface written all over her. And they passed on her. I just don't get it. This will never not frustrate the hell out of me. I mean, she's someone who I say, look, if this girl wants to work for you, for God's sake, sign her up. You could be printing money with a girl like that, with a talent like that. I don't get it. It's so frustrating, too, because the reason that Dixie gave for not having her win the competition made no sense at all. She said, Kaylee Ray is really exciting, but she wonders if Kaylee Ray is ready. Okay, you wonder if Kaylee Ray is ready, and you pass on her giving that excuse, but you sign Rebel with no experience and put her in the ring when she'd had probably less than 10 matches in OVW? Okay, so Rebel is ready, but Kaylee Ray is not. Explain that to me. Okay, this is the company that signed Lacey Von Erich and put her in the ring when she embarrassed herself on a weekly basis, but Kaylee Ray is not ready? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What is the point of the one-night-only pay-per-views? They're a cheap way of fulfilling their contract requirements to their pay-per-view provider. That's the point of the one-night-only pay-per-views. Thoughts on the Dixieland stable? Wasting months of main eventing Magnus only to release him. Was not a fan of the Dixieland stable. I think they really fucked up with Magnus. I think his title reign was a joke. He deserved better, and so did we. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous that he defeated Sting 100% clean at Bound for Glory, and then a couple of months later, he needed help from literally 10 people to defeat Sting. What the fuck was that? That was a joke. It was insulting. I think his title reign was insulting. He deserved to be a world champion. I think he could have been a great world champion, but he was booked to fail. They booked him to fail. The booking of him as the world champion was a joke. I hate saying that because I was a proponent of Magnus. I was behind him as the world champion, but they booked him like complete shit. That was not his fault. It was not his fault that his title reign was received so poorly. It was 100% the fault of the writers. Oh, boy. All right. I didn't want this one to go too long, so get your final questions and comments in. I'm going to put the cutoff point down here in the comments section in a minute, and after that, we'll call it a night because I already did this for a couple hours last night, and I was just starting to get my voice back before I started doing this. So. Okay. If Kurt goes back to the WWE, do you think they will push him right, or will he get the RVD Sting Team 3D treatment? I think he'd probably get the Sting treatment. Of course, the bigger question is, would he even get cleared to wrestle in WWE if he went back? I think they might relax the rules a little bit, considering their roster is so thin right now, and with half the people injured. I don't think he'd work a full schedule. He might work a match here or a match there, but it remains to be seen if they'd even clear him. With all due respect, if WWE is more boring than TNA, then explain the viewership, brand recognition, and advertising. Would you change the way backstage segments are produced to a more Lucha Underground style, or keep as is? No. I don't care for the Lucha Underground style. I appreciate their production, because they have their shows look great. Their pre-tapes look amazing. It's like watching a movie. But I don't like how it takes out all the realism. I prefer a realism-based product, and that's not what Lucha's doing. Other than the World Title Series, what has been the hardest to watch, period? Hardest to watch, period, of Impact? Hogan and Bischoff's Reign of Terror? That was pretty bad. The Aces and Eights? That was god-awful. Why do you support the streak ending? Because the streak had been pointless. It had become nothing more than a way to stroke Taker's ego and be a cheap marketing tactic, a lazy marketing tactic for WrestleMania every year. So I'm glad the streak is over. Would you want Russo back at TNA? Maybe in a consulting capacity. I don't think I'd want him writing the shows. No, I think they need new blood in the writers' room, new people who are not in the wrestling bubble, new people who have new and fresh ideas, new ways of doing things. I'm not saying that Russo wouldn't be able to contribute in some capacity. Like I said, maybe a consulting capacity, but I wouldn't want him back in like a prominent position. What is Drew Galloway's position in TNA? Is he like a mid-card main eventer? I think he's a upper mid-carder knocking on the door of the main event. Probably in line for a top spot in the very near future. Did you ever get to watch Sonny Siaki in TNA? When was he there? I don't think so. Do you watch the Joe Cronin show? No, I don't. X Division was never the same after Hogan and Bischoff's regime, along with Dixie bringing back the six-sided ring, which hasn't been used to its full potential, and re-pushing the X Division to the moon. Do you agree? And there were a lot of contributing factors to the X Division kind of taking a back seat. Hogan and Bischoff was one of them, don't get me wrong, but there were a lot of things, a lot of other reasons that contributed to that. Could you see if, by the end of the year, another James Storm versus Bobby Roode feud, but this time it could be more like the Harris versus Storm feud? No. No, beer money are needed in the tag team division for right now. What happened to Evil Fool Killer character you used to do? Character? Well, I don't really know where Fourth Dimension Fool Killer is right now. He's plotting some kind of nefarious scheme. You can bet your ass on that. And I'm sure we'll see him again at some point. It's hard. Obviously, it's hard for him to show up in a live stream like this because I guess his schedule doesn't work with that. But I'm sure we haven't seen the last of him. No, he'll pop up to make my life miserable. Probably when I least expect it. I think we can agree that Paige is an incredible diva. If she was available, would you sign her? If she wanted to work for TNA, hell yeah. That's most likely not going to happen. But if she was available and if she was interested in doing business, of course. That'd be a no-brainer. She's popular. She could do good business for the company. If Velvet thinks she is so great and talented, then why doesn't she quit? Probably because nobody else wants to sign her. And working for TNA is the only way she has to make a decent living as a wrestler, because her only other option would be going back to the Indies. Because, yeah, she's made overtures. She's been making overtures to WWE for a while on social media that she wants to work for them. She's had Bully Ray really talking her up, saying, "Oh, she would be a great diva. She would be. Fans would love to see her managing the Dudley Boys." And then posting pictures of Velvet in the Dudley Boys gear on his Twitter page. Stuff like that. She's not shy about what she wants. Not shy about letting people know it. But WWE is not interested. So, I guess she realizes now that it's TNA or nothing. And she's not happy about that, but hey, it's money, and she's on TV, and I guess it beats wrestling on the indies for her. So I guess that's where she's at. And that's the impression that she gives off. Sorry if that's not the facts, Velvet. But prove that it's not. Because all the stuff that I called Velvet out in that blog are things that have actually happened. All those things are factual, despite Velvet's claims to the contrary. Do you think there are too many wrestlers who look like geeks and not gods, i.e. the current X Division champion? It's hard to idolize someone like that. Maybe. I think it depends on the talent. Some people can take looking like a geek and make it work. Daniel Bryan didn't have the look of a prototypical quote-unquote god wrestler. Didn't look like the prototypical WWE superstar, but I think that's part of the reason why people liked him. Because he didn't look like everybody else. Some people can take that and make it work for them. I think it all depends on the talent. Your opinion of Alexa Bliss? I don't really have one. I really don't think TNA honestly cares about fixing the X Division and the knockouts. Maybe they don't. The point is to try to make them care, because showing them that the fans care, and the fans want this to happen. That's why we're doing this. Hashtag revive the X Division. Hashtag cherry bomb for TNA. Tweet TNA. Tweet Impact Wrestling. John Gaburek, Dixie Carter. Let's try to create that change that we want to see. Cherry versus Jade versus Rosemary versus Gail versus Jennifer Blake. Now, that would be awesome. That would be great. That would be a knockout division that I could get excited about. Thoughts on Sam Shaw and Santana Garrett? Thought it had potential, but it was poorly written. I guess. I think Sam Shaw was starting to kind of figure his character out at that point. I think Santana Garrett was obviously out of her wheelhouse, but she was trying. I think they could have done more with it than they did, but they were kind of set up to fail because they were losing all the damn time. They never really had a chance. I mean, you could certainly argue that they were booked to fail. It's pretty clear that creative wasn't really behind them, separately or as a duo. They just didn't really get they didn't really get a shot, like a fair shot. If they had been booked more appropriately, booked more to their strengths, they probably would have had more success, but it just didn't turn out that way. are gonna see Eli Drake, Jesse Gadders, Robbie EEC3, Galloway, Mike Bennett, Madison Ray, Angelina Love of the Beautiful People, not counting Velvet, the Dollhouse, Spud, and Bram, all good in their own division. Do you have a question? I don't even know what you're saying here. Do you like Reigns' look? Roman Reigns' look? Yeah, it's fine. Any tag teams you like that TNA should bring in? They tried out the Mighty Don't Kneel a while back. I like them. There's been some rumblings about people wanting Killer Elite Squad, who I'm not really familiar with. Some tag teams in ROH would be good. Not incredibly familiar with a lot of them. Do you think this is TNA's Dark Ages? I don't know. I think Dark Ages would have been Hogan and Bischoff's reign of terror. Probably the Aces and Eights stuff. Creative was just a joke at that point. I mean, from a creative standpoint, the show has been good lately. So Dark Ages? No, I wouldn't agree with that. With constant comparison, what do you say keeps you in tune with TNA's comparison to WWE? I would say that generally TNA insults my intelligence a lot less than WWE. I think there's a lot less arrogance about the product from the roster and the company in TNA. I feel like TNA is at least trying to be better. I feel like they try different things. They don't always work. In fact, they don't work a lot of the time. But I feel like they at least try. Whereas WWE, I don't really get that impression a lot of the time. And I think WWE creative is kind of a joke. And you could poke holes in that all day long. And, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things, really. And, okay, I am about to put the cutoff point, and once I reach that point, we will be wrapping this up. There we go. All right. Holy crap. Hmm. Why don't Haas and Benjamin go to TNA and help their tag team division because they failed to make stars despite EC3? Didn't Charlie Haas retire a couple years ago? Do you think TNA didn't sign Kaylee Ray because she would have had to be paid enough money to rehome her in America? No. That didn't sign them from... If they didn't want to pay the winner of British Boot Camp 2 money to relocate to America, they wouldn't be doing the show in the first place. The whole point of the show was to find a star from the UK to sign to their roster. So no matter who won, that person was going to have to relocate. Spud relocated. No, I don't think it was that at all. TNA choosing Lady Tapa over Ivelisse Velez thing still makes me angry when I think about it. Oh, dude, don't even get me started on that. I've decided that there had to have been backstage issues with Ivelisse. To this day, I don't know what they were thinking, but there must have been some kind of backstage issues, because otherwise I don't understand how you could possibly justify choosing Lady Tapa over her. Ivelisse looked like a star in every capacity. And then you have Lady Tapa, who was not remotely ready to be on TV, who they gave her they put her on TV, gave her a piss poor run when she showed that she wasn't ready for the spot, and then they just let her contract expire because she wasn't ready. Meanwhile, Ivelisse has been drawing rave reviews from everybody who watches her on Lucha Underground. It's like, wow, Really missed out on something there, TNA. To this day, I do not get it. I do not get it. How cool would Go Away Velvet chants be? They would be really cool. Do you think one night only shows are better than the Impact shows? Well, most of the time I don't watch the one night only shows. No, I prefer Impact because at least that has some like storyline continuity. Well, most of the one night only shows are just kind of a self-contained show with a bunch of matches on them, usually with some kind of theme to them. Might be fun for novelty's sake, but it's not something you're looking for if you want something that's going to impact the product in any significant way, because they don't really. Bound for Glory needs a new set, in my opinion. I know it's a luxury, but to make a show look better, it needs to look different from Impact. Do you agree? Yes, I do. That's unfortunately that's a budgetary limitation that they're often dealing with. I think if you want a show to feel special, you have to go out of your way to make it look special. A different set is a big contributing factor to that. Of course, different sets cost money, and just might not be in the budget, unfortunately. Your thoughts on Zack Sabre Jr.? I don't know, good wrestler. A lot of people want to see him get signed somewhere. I hate Mini Brody Lee gimmick. Okay. Do you have a question? To whom are you referring? If Cherry does sign with TNA, what type of character would you like her? Do you think she would be? I'd like to see her just be herself. She knows what gets her over. She knows. She's certainly known how to get herself over in this feud with Courtney Rush. Just really don't change. It ain't broke, so don't fix it. Just sign her, let her be herself for the most part. That's what they did with Courtney. They signed her and just let her play her gimmick in Smash Wrestling. And she's attracting a following very quickly. I haven't seen anyone say a single bad word about Rosemary. Everybody seems to be raving about her. I think it would be the same thing with Cherry Bomb. Just let her be herself and let her do what she knows works for her. It's not complicated. You think TNA should change their color scheme? Possibly. I think the blue is okay. It does probably remind a little bit too much of SmackDown's color scheme. So I'd like to see them maybe make some changes there. I think green would be cool. Okay, one night only suck in my opinion. Okay. Do you think the London Brawling tag team of Magnus and Wolf would have been good? Yeah. They had a lot of chemistry together. Their promos were awesome. Who will debut on the March tapings full-time in your opinion? I'm crossing my fingers for Andrew Everett and Cherry Bomb. Should Magnus have been a face going into the UK tour when he was chasing the title? Wasn't he? I have trouble remembering these details like this sometimes. Wasn't he already a face when he was? No, he was a heel. He was a heel champion on the UK tour. I don't think it really matters as long as he was in a prominent position. Thoughts on Crash Holly? I literally have not thought about Crash Holly in years. Your column about Velvet was great. Nice to see someone call out these ungrateful, two-faced morons. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's been really nice to see the reaction to that. It seems like most of us are on the same page here. Everybody's been really supportive and, for the most part, really agreeing with me. It seems like we're all pretty much on the same page when it comes to Velvet. A lot of us agree that she's not been conducting herself in an appropriate fashion and has not been acting as a good ambassador for the company. And it's just unfortunate that she doesn't listen to what people are telling her. And it's because when she does that, she's only contributing to this feeling of resentment that's been building up towards her. You know, kind of funny. It's unfortunate because it doesn't have to be that way. And basically, she's doing it all to herself. Favorite wrestling finisher? Wrestling finisher? Again, I don't know. The F5 is pretty cool. The spear, always like the spear. Yeah, F5, I guess. Do you think Y2AJ will win the tag titles, or do you think Jericho will turn on AJ? I'm expecting Jericho to turn on AJ. Do you miss Sarita? I miss what could have been with Sarita. I think they used her completely wrong. I think they completely underutilized her, booked her poorly. So in that sense, yeah, I do miss her. Of course, she's a trainer at the Performance Center now, so it doesn't look like she's going to be coming back to wrestling full time, and that sucks. Jade can do a 450 splash. Do you think she should bust that out even as a heel, or just stick to the moves she is currently doing? I'd like to see her do it, even as a heel. I think they need to pick an appropriate time for it. Like, I'd like to see her use that. I'd like to see that be the move that she wins the title with eventually. And I'd like to see that be the first time that she uses it in TNA. Now she's got some other kind of move, like some kind of twisting corkscrew maneuver. Sky Yim, I think she calls it. I'd like to see her bust that out. I think she did it on on a one-night only show. Not sure which match it was. Might have been in the match with Tara. But yeah, she's got some big high-flying moves. I'd like to see her break those out eventually. Doing them as a heel might not work. But have one of those big moves be the one she wins the title with? Yeah, I'd like to see that. Thoughts on WWE's Global Cruiserweight Series? Well, it's not really a thing yet. It's interesting that they're doing it. Might be a good show, but we haven't seen anything yet. Ask me again after it becomes a thing. Jennifer Blake is awesome. I think she and Cherry would instantly freshen up the stale knockout division. Yes, 100% agree. They believe Jennifer Blake is available now. She's another one who retweets a lot of these things when people say, "Oh, you should sign Jennifer Blake. She should be in the knockout division." She retweets all that stuff. So Jennifer Blake is interested. She wants to do business. She's available. She wants to work for them. Hashtag Jennifer Blake for TNA. Tweet Dixie Carter. Tweet John Gabura. Tweet Impact Wrestling. She's another one that should be working for them, who has all the tools that you would want in a TV-ready star. There's no reason why she should not be on television. Why don't we pair Bram with Spud, and you could have Bram bullying Spud for heat? Well, no, because Spud is also a heel. It doesn't really work. Do you remember Amazing Red dressing in a mask for 2 weeks with no explanation and then disappearing? You talking about the Sangriento gimmick? Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. I think if TNA had more talent on the roster, some of the feuds would not seem as repetitive. Yeah, roster's still really thin right now. A lot of people have left, and they're taking steps to replenish the roster, but it would be nice if that happened a little faster. Can you explain why Brian Alvarez or anybody calls wrestlers geeks? No, I don't get that. Do you think TNA should have made Caitlyn an offer back when she left WWE? Yeah, they probably did. And she turned them down because I guess she just wanted to get out of wrestling. As is her right. I would be surprised if they hadn't made her an offer. We just didn't hear about it because nothing came of it. For the record, I'm sure they've also made offers to AJ Lee, but she also seems to want to get out of wrestling, so... TNA hasn't been exciting since the show wasn't on the road every week. What? TNA hasn't been exciting since the show wasn't on the road every week. Do you think the large block tapings are badly harming the product? They sure as hell don't help. Because it kills the crowd. And it doesn't help when you're watching the show and the crowd is asleep. That's one of the reasons a lot of these shows don't... one of the contributing factors to this show just not coming off well. I would prefer it be on the road every week, but, they have to tape in Orlando periodically because it's a cost-saving measure. Because they save a lot of money by taping there. And they save a lot of money by taping a lot of TV in one block. Sadly, it's a necessary evil right now. I don't like it. Most people don't like it, but there's not a lot they can do about it because it's one of the necessities of staying in business, apparently. Were you a Crash Bandicoot fan growing up? Not really. Thoughts on Don West? I thought Don West as a heel was absolutely brilliant. I thought he was a great commentator as a heel. It sucks that he left. And I miss him. Should the Main Street Posse help Shane at WrestleMania? No. Thing is, no diss, TNA is dying. If the rumors are true of Dixie finding a new owner... I have not heard a rumor. I've read reports that they're looking for investors to contribute to a 5-year growth plan. What would be more believable? Someone buying TNA dying out of WWE, buying out TNA's video library. Well, TNA's video library is not for sale. I think as long as they can keep their TV deal, they're fine. And it seems like they have a good relationship with Pop TV right now, so... let's not dig that grave just yet. Do you think with the success so far of the Decay, the TNA should create a face group to answer the Decay? Like to be like the... You mean like to be the Batman to the Decay's Joker? Maybe if they had the right people. I'm not sure the Decay is something you can just replicate like that. Do you think JR would be a good replacement for John Gaburek? Oh, hell yeah. JR, they were pretty close to bringing JR in a while ago. A couple of years ago. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and I think the company's been worse off for it. So absolutely, JR would be a good replacement. Are you concerned about TNA's future? Pop ratings are 0.2. If they get kicked off of Pop, it surely must be over for them. And it depends on what the ratings are compared to everything else that's on Pop. I mean, it's not a big network. We've heard nothing about Pop TV being disappointed with the ratings. Do you think Velvet Sky should pose for Playboy? I don't care. I really don't care. Did you play Mega Man Legends games growing up? If so, did you enjoy them? I played Mega Man. I played the first two. Way back in the day. They were fun. Have the Knockouts ever posed for Playboy? I think Tracy Brooks did. Your reviews are awesome. Thank you. Are you a fan of Raven? I guess. I didn't dislike Raven. His promos were great. Remember when the Knockout division had Alyssa Flash, Roxy, Sarita, Taylor Wilde, yet the boring people were the focus, and years later the boring people are still the focus? Yeah. It sucks. This gimmick has been played out for years. It's time for it to go away. It's time for those women to move on and make way for other people. What's your thoughts on the World Elite? That faction that took the better part of a year to come together and then fizzled out in a couple of months? I don't really have any. What I meant by do you think all those people will make an impact in main event matches, which include... What? Do you think all those people will make an impact in main event matches? All of them? No. Gale versus Velvet, the winner and loser both leave. Velvet should leave. I don't think there's any reason for Gale to leave. I think they should be using her differently. I wouldn't want to see her leave just yet. Toni Storm for TNA My Own campaign. She's another one that TNA should be going after. I would accept Toni Storm. But we're kind of focusing on trying to get people to focus on Cherry Bomb right now because I think she's the one with the best chance of actually getting a contract. You know, she's the one I think just needs a little bit of encouragement to get to push her in the door and get TNA to kind of wake up and get her in there. Okay, I think once that happens, then we can focus on other people. But right now, I think Cherry Bomb is the one that needs to be, that kind of needs to people to get behind her because she's the one I think with the best chance of actually getting signed. Ted 2 sucked, in my opinion. Just didn't find it funny. Hopefully Scott Pilgrim versus the World is good. Really, I actually preferred Ted 2. Yeah. Why in God's name, back in 2010, did TNA do an Orlando Jordan versus Rob Terry feud? Because Hogan and Bischoff didn't know the roster? Because they were stupid? Why are you even paying that any... Why are you even thinking about that? Why even bother? Just put it out of your mind. It happened, it sucked, it's done. Let's never think about it again. And they have reached the cutoff point. Wow. Guys, once I put that line in there, that's where I typically want to end things. So, okay. I will answer the rest of these because, you know, they're in there and people, I guess, people are still in the chat room, but let's try to keep that it. So, not taking any more questions or comments at this point on. I'm going to finish off the rest of these, and then we're going to call it a night, okay? I appreciate everybody who shows up, but I'm trying to save my voice here, because I can feel it starting to go again. So, let's kind of wind this down and wrap this thing up, because I got other stuff to do. Okay. Do you think TNA should focus on a storyline-heavy product? It depends on what people want. Everybody views differently. Certain people want different things. Certain people want a more wrestling-heavy product. I like storyline-centric, character-centric product. I like having wrestling that is enhanced by a strong storyline and strong characters. That's the kind of product that I'm looking for. So I kind of like what they're doing now. It seems like I feel like right now they've got a good balance between story, character, and wrestling. Now, some people are saying, oh, they should be more wrestling-centric. No, I think it's a good balance right now. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. Are you willing to give WWE a second chance if they fire their creative team and hire some people outside of wrestling? I think you're giving them too much credit. It seems like most of the people they hire are from outside of wrestling. You know, they hire, like, sitcom writers, soap opera writers, stuff like that. The problem is they've still got the same people in charge of those writers. You still got Stephanie at the head. You still got Vince micromanaging everything, and that's the real problem. You know, these people might be really talented, but they don't get the chance to show it because Vince has his hands in everything and is changing his mind every 10 minutes and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Thanks, FK. Been literally waiting months to do a Q&A with you. Haven't watched TNA for 2 years, but followed your reviews every week. Peace out. Thanks. Is it a scheduled type of thing? Because I do these twice a week. Glad you could finally make it. Thanks for supporting the show. TNA should ditch the one-night-only shows. Well, that's probably difficult because they have contracts with pay-per-view providers, and they're probably obligated to produce a certain number of pay-per-views per year. So, and apparently they do make money on them. They've said this. Might not be a lot of money, but they are profitable. So, if they're profitable, there's no reason to not continue doing them. Should TNA bring in indie wrestlers? Yes. It sucks Desmond Wolfe had to retire. I felt like his career was cut short. That's because his career was cut short. Hashtag Get Out Velvet. Where can I find your post to read like that Velvet Sky one? tnasylum.net. It's on the main page right now. If you go to the next page or the one after that, there's another one I wrote. Gail Kim isn't the hero; she's the villain. It's all on there under the straight shooting, the straight shooting section. Also, you can go to my personal blog tnathreshold.com. tnathreshold.blogspot.com. Excuse me. Everything I write is on there. All the video reviews, all the comic show post shows, all that stuff. Pretty much everything I do is on that page, so you can go to that blog. So where all my stuff is. What do you think of TNA not announcing the next set of TV tapings? Already kind of went over that. Obviously, they're going to be the week following the UK tour. I think the first Impact after the UK tour is going to be a live one, so we can assume we can pretty much assume when the dates are going to be. Yeah, they should have announced something by now, but I don't know. That could have just been an oversight. Would you be mad at me if? Would you be mad at me if I like you and Velvet Sky 100% of the time, and are you mad at me for liking Matt Hardy as champion, but I think EC3 is an alright person? No, I'm not mad at you. Different strokes for different folks. Not everybody's going to like the same person. You can like whoever you want. That's fine. We're all fans here. If you like Velvet Sky, okay. She does have fans. I don't understand it myself, but some people like her. Okay. I don't. For a number of reasons. But if you like her, have at it, dude. And okay, that is going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight on this redo of the Impact stream from yesterday. I don't know what happened to that one. I'm disappointed that it got swallowed up by YouTube and not uploaded. That review is just gone, which is really unfortunate because I thought that was a really good one, and we had some really good discussions in the chat room for that one. So that sucks. I tried to recreate it as best I can, as best I could. Tried to recreate some of the points I made about the Velvet Sky thing and all that other stuff. Hopefully I did a good job here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Once again, put your comments down below in the comment section once this gets uploaded about why you want the X Division back, and maybe I'll why you want the Knockout Division to be great again. Maybe I'll quote you and tweet your comments to Dixie Carter, John Gaburek, Impact Wrestling. Let them know what you're thinking. Also, tweet Dixie Carter, John Gaburek, Impact Wrestling. Tweet them why you want the X Division back, why you want the Knockouts to be great again. Hashtag Revive the X Division. Hashtag Cherry Bomb for TNA, or Jennifer Blake for TNA, or Tony Storm for TNA if that's what does it for you. You know, I think we should be. I think we should be focusing on Cherry Bomb right now. Try to get behind her, get her in the doorway. But if you want Jennifer Blake, that's cool too. So tweet those people. Dixie Carter, John Gaburek, Impact Wrestling. Let them know how you feel. Put your comments down below the video in the comments section. And tune in next Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, for the Comic Show post show, and next Saturday for the next review of Impact. I will talk to you then. Peace out. Talk to you later.